And it is my pleasure to welcome to the Rima studio Dr. Greg and Erin Smalley. Guys, kia ora, as we say in New Zealand. Welcome to Rima.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This is kind of weird for us because, honestly, I've heard your voices on Focus on the Family. Of course, Focus on the Family, a partner with Rima for so many years. To have you guys here in the studio, this is kind of strange for me because you have been broadcast from this place many times before, but is this your first time here?
It actually, we were about 5 years ago. We were here for a whole 12 hours.
Okay.
We had enough time to jump off the bridge and the bungee jump.
Oh wow!
So we're expecting better things this trip.
And
I did not jump off the bridge, and I'm not going to do it again this trip. So Greg and our kids are going to do it.
Well, I'm really glad that you came back for seconds.
So this might be my last broadcast,
yeah,
depending on how the bungee jump goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And hey, wonderful to have you back here in New Zealand. They're spending a little bit more time here, been doing seminars in different parts of the country. Can I just apologise for the weather? It is winter, I know, and I'm sure in Colorado Springs you're used to a good winter, right? But this is perhaps a different sort of winter than what you've experienced.
Yeah, actually, it's heading into summer in Colorado,
yeah,
and we had a foot of snow on May 21st. So it wasn't too long ago we were being dumped on the snow.
Yeah. So the rain, we'll take the rain over the snow.
Yeah.
So we're thrilled to be here. I tell you, we've now I think been here about a week,
mm-hmm.
and we have fallen in love with New Zealand to the point to where like we want to move here.
Okay.
Like we love it that much.
You're most welcome, and the weather does get better than this.
Actually,
yeah.
if this is the worst it gets, then
yeah.
we're good.
In terms of the ministry that you have as marriage experts, does that kind of come with the territory? And Erin, wanting to talk to you about this because it's okay. You know, your husband, he's he writes books on it, and he's doing all this sort of stuff. Did you kind of get roped in on this one, like the pastor's wife? Okay, well, he's the pastor, but I kind of got to do this as well. Is that how it worked for you guys?
Yeah, when we first got married, I told him, don't ever ask me to get on a stage with you. And I'm happy to sit in the front row and give you good feedback. And it was amazing because it wasn't him that coerced me into it. It was my church.
Yeah.
And the women at my church came to me and said, hey, we want you to speak at an event for us. And I said, I don't speak. And they said, yes, you do.
Yeah.
And so I did it. And then I was kind of like, oh, I think I liked that.
So he was a marriage expert before you married him?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. How did that work out for you guys? You know,
Horribly.
you knew what
Not
you were
so
getting
well.
into?
Yeah, not so well.
Yeah, there's a big difference between having book smarts and
Yeah.
practical experience. So what I thought would be an easy first couple of years, actually, we really struggled. And by the grace of God, we got help. We went into counseling. We had a mentor couple who really worked with us. And so we just celebrated 27 years here in Auckland.
Wow, that's absolutely. So you came here for your wedding anniversary as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Now the truth is, here's the secret. So we'll just reveal it right now.
Yeah.
She's the real marriage expert. I'm just what they call a trophy husband. So I just look great on her arm when she's up there talking.
Greg, I was kind of getting that, and
you get that vibe.
For me, it's always been, listening to you guys. It's always been Greg without Erin.
Right.
You know, I mean, you guys complement each other in such a fantastic way. And Erin, back to your
Yeah.
friends at church saying,
Yes.
"I know you are a speaker."
Yes.
Because honestly, it adds so much credibility, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm the guy. I've got the doctorate. I'm the marriage expert. Well, what does your wife have to say on that? Because that's
Exactly.
that's where it meets the road, right?
Yeah, she does. She brings this incredible perspective, and Erin has been a marriage counselor for many, many years, and is fantastic as a counselor. And I learned so much from her, and so that's why we love it. We feel like a true team. Sometimes you'll see couples like there's one of the spouses, they're really good at what they do, and the other's kind of just there, as you're saying. But we're equals, and she does a great job, and I love working with her. Keeps our marriage strong, as we have to learn to apply these things.
It's got to keep you sharp, right? You know,
does.
especially
Yes.
if you're taking the show on the road, as you are here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
People go, oh, I wonder how they're getting on. You know, when the flight gets cancelled, when the weather gets lousy, are they still, showing
Yeah.
love and grace and everything to each other?
Yeah.
The good news is we both kind of just roll with things. We have this piece of both of our personality is like kind of whatever, it'll all work out, and it always does.
Yeah.
How important is that up front? That the sort of people that you are before you get married and the way in which those types of personalities combine, do you think that there are these people are destined by God to get married. They are soulmates, if you like. But for other people, yeah, that's not going to be such a great combination. What's your thoughts on that, guys?
I think that sometimes we try to make differences, the fact that we're different and the ways that we're different, the problem. And it's never the problem. God made us exactly how He wanted us. He knew that we were going to get together. And it's really how we manage the differences that can either be good or bad, healthy, unhealthy. And it took Erin and I quite a number of years to figure out how do we really blend well together. And so that's why, there's never a time to where you can look and say, well, the reason is that, like in the States, we have a term called irreconcilable differences that people claim when they get divorced. That's not true. It's just that they never learned how to really work effectively with their differences and learned how to manage conflict. So that's why we always tell people, it doesn't matter what your personality is, there's always hope. You can learn to do this, and we're great evidence of that.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to recognize that we are really different people than we were 27 years ago when we walked down the aisle. And we have been continually committed to personal growth and development as individuals.
Yeah.
And as we've done that, it's been amazing that we've gotten to do that together. And part of it has been our ministry. That has grown us tremendously, and it's brought this very sweet spot between us in our own marriage.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with my wife, robust conversation. Sometimes someone called it an argument. I would, but
Robust.
Yeah,
exactly.
robust.
So about like whether or not God meant for us to be together, because I was saying that obviously she makes good choices. She's got good taste because she chose me. Her response was, "I didn't choose you. God chose for us to be together." Erin, what's your response to that? Do we choose each other, or do you think God organizes for two people to be together because they're good for each other?
Well, we look at this a little bit differently than probably how some look at it. We think that there are many different options, and God knows which aisle you're going to go down and which path you're going to take. And it's amazing to me that God knew Greg and I would be together, but he kind of laid that out and gave us free choice and free will to choose.
Yeah, I don't think beyond Adam and Eve, there's no evidence in the scriptures that God is a matchmaker, that He runs yeheavenly.com or whatever. No, that's the hallmark of humanity, is that God has given us free will. Now, what's important though is to make that such a matter of prayer and to understand that what God's will and all that, and to make sure you're aligned with that. But otherwise, if God brought us together, then when there's problems, it's God's fault. And He didn't know what He was doing. He must have made a mistake. He didn't really understand. And versus, listen, I chose. And we tell this to our kids. I tell them, I will walk you down to the aisle to whomever you want, but understand that is 100% your choice, and choose wisely. And that means you need to have good mentors in your life. You need to ask friends and family, what do they think as you're praying? I mean, all that needs to go into the second most important decision of our life behind our relationship with Christ.
Can I just say though, you've got a 21-year-old daughter, right?
Our oldest is 25. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This would be so intimidating for the guy that wants to date your daughter, because I mean this is double whammy. Okay, this is second generation marriage experts. I mean, you're going to have some things to say, some input into their choices. I mean, it's ultimately their choice, but I mean, you guys have been giving free advice for years. Really, you're going to have some input there, right?
Well, the funniest part was our oldest daughter Taylor, who's now been married almost 3 years. When her now husband came to talk to me, I was right in the middle. Erin and I were developing an assessment called Ready to Propose.
Yeah, poor buddy.
He walked right into it.
Seriously, and so I just had my outline of this assessment that we were creating that I used when he came to ask for Taylor's hand, and that was such an amazing experience. I made him fly with me to a marriage event that I was teaching. He had to sit in the front row, and then in the evenings we would talk, and I just got to know him and just fell in love with him, and so thrilled that they're together. He's an amazing
You
son.
passed the test, and she made the choice. That's very
he is an amazing young man, and we're very blessed to have him.
Talk to us about how important the spiritual aspect of life, because it'd be easy to look at some of the statistics between Christian marriages and people that aren't from a faith background. The stats aren't good on either side of that equation, but how important is having that that common faith, having God involved in your marriage, how much of a difference do you think it makes?
I think it makes a whole lot of difference. And there's a difference between those that claim to have faith and those that are convictional about it and are really working at living it out. The research is strong for a couple that is praying together but also attending church together. That as they're building that community of like-minded people around them, that makes a huge difference in a marriage.
Yeah, it is. The when couples pray together, I think the divorce rate is like less than 1%. When they do that daily, when that's a part of their conviction as a couple that, hey, we're gonna submit together before the Lord. The unity that comes from that, it's unbelievable. So it's absolutely part of what's going to be a strong, healthy marriage, is a strong spiritual relationship that we create together.
Yeah.
Coming up a little bit later on today, in fact, from 7 o'clock tonight at the Upper Room in Auckland, presenting a seminar, moving from roommates to soulmates. And it is the reality in our society, I'm sure it's the same in the US as it is here in New Zealand, that for a lot of couples, they do the try before you buy thing. They kind of move in together and they're sort of like a married couple, and then maybe a few years down the line, they make the decision to get married. Talk to somebody who may be in that situation or maybe even contemplating that situation. Does it really make a difference if you keep everything on hold until you get the ring?
Oh, it's so important to make that lifelong commitment, because if I'm not willing to commit to Erin for a lifetime, there's a part of her heart that she's never going to give to me because it doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Even if she's not aware of that, she can't fully give herself to me out of the fear that, well, what if he doesn't feel, in love tomorrow?
Yeah.
Versus I made a commitment to her to love her for a lifetime. There are plenty of days that I'm not feeling that. I'm hurt. I'm mad at her. Maybe I'm so busy.
No,
I know it's hard to believe.
That's hard to believe.
I feel like I'm doing couples therapy for you guys.
So I always tell guys, you know what? Give her the greatest gift you can, which is that lifelong commitment, so that you gain 100% full access to her heart. I don't care what people say. There is no way you can convince me without that type of commitment that two people are really, truly, fully able to give completely their heart away. It doesn't work. So you're kind of operating within a relationship with part of their heart being withheld, and that's not what you want. That's the beauty of marriage. The difference between cohabitating, living together couples and married couples is just not about their physical intimacy. It's about, I'm fully willing to give Erin my heart because I know that she's made that commitment to me for a lifetime.
Yeah, and that even makes a difference for married couples when they remove the word divorce from their vocabulary. Then there's no option. There's no option out. And granted, there are situations with physical abuse or domestic violence that that divorce may be in tow, in store.
Yeah.
But we really believe there's something so powerful about. I can remember the day Greg came to me and said, let's just take that word out. And what that meant to me was, wow, this is safe. He's committed to me. We're going to work through whatever comes our way. But it really bred just that overall spirit of safety, that we're valued, that this marriage is valuable, and we're going to fight for it. We're going to do whatever we need to do to make this the healthiest that we can.
Just wanting to come back to the theme of your seminar tonight. Now, no spoilers, because people are going to head along tonight at 7 p.m. at the Upper Room in Newmarket. But actually, for some people, they go from the sort of the infatuated, hey, my partner can do nothing wrong, they're absolutely wonderful, and then gradually over time, I think this is a phrase I got from Focus on the Family, that creeping separateness comes between, and you just kind of get used to, oh, well, she helps with the laundry and I wash the car and mow the lawns, and we kind of help each other out, and we kind of get on, but it's not the same spark, it's not the same depth of relationship that we had initially. From my understanding of what you guys are talking about, let's reverse that. Let's start off at one level, and as our marriage continues, let's go deeper in intimacy towards soulmates. How do you make that work?
Yeah, when people get busy naturally within a relationship, I mean, I remember just with reckless abandon pursuing Erin as we were dating before we were married. And then, you know, once the ring was on, once we started to do life, began to have children, careers, church, all those other activities, those kinds of things then captured my pursuit. You know, not thinking that well, you know, I'm done with her, but just there's a comfort, there's a routine. That it's easy for us over time to feel like flatmates, to where we're just, you know, we feel like roommates that are coexisting.
We hear that all the time, is we just feel like roommates. We're kind of living parallel lives. And, you know, it's in the U.S. and we've heard it here across the country. And there's lots of things you can be doing. And we found that it's really the little things that can really have a profound impact on your relationship. We're going to be talking all about that tomorrow, or actually tonight, at the event. And would love for everyone to come out and join us for
Certainly
that.
Looking forward to that, guys. Wonderful to have you here in the studio. And do come on back if you do make the decision to permanently move here. You know, you'd be very welcome. And we wish you all the best for the rest of your time here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
thanks
much.
for having us.
We've loved it. Thank you.
Yeah.